Welcome in, everybody, to our deep dive into Not Today, The 9 Habits of Extreme Productivity by Erica and Mike Schultz.
No, this isn't like your average productivity book.
Right.
It's got this really powerful story kind of woven through it.
Yeah, and get ready for an emotional ride for sure, and some
Yeah.
actually great productivity advice,
Mm.
and who knows, maybe even a laugh or two along the way, because sometimes life is just
No, absolutely.
absurd, right?
Yeah, Cammy.
But we've got our expert here ready to unpack all the wisdom in this book. So,
Let's do it.
all right, let's start with Ari's journey.
Okay.
So, the author's son, Ari, was diagnosed with a very serious heart condition even before he was born.
Wow.
So can you imagine navigating that world
Yeah.
of like constant hospital visits, multiple surgeries,
Yeah.
all the uncertainty that comes with it?
It's hard to even fathom.
It is.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all of these challenges, Ari's spirit just shines through.
Hmm.
The book recounts his incredible resilience.
Mm.
Like, for example, his Make-A-Wish request was for a basketball court,
Oh,
just showing his absolute zest for life.
that's amazing.
It really puts things in perspective. You know, the typical, like, get more done mentality feels almost trivial
Yeah,
compared to what the Schultz family faced,
absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
And so their experience with Ari really profoundly shaped their approach to productivity.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually came up with this framework called the TIME framework, which stands for Treasured Investment, Mandatory, and Empty Time.
That's a great framework.
I love this framework.
Yeah.
It really resonated with me because it's not about cramming more into your day. It's about being very discerning about which activities really deserve your energy
Right.
and focus.
And your time.
Yeah, maximizing that. Treasured and investment time.
Totally.
That's where I think real fulfillment lies.
That's where it's at.
So how do we actually put this into practice?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
Well, the book lays out 9 specific habits for achieving what they call extreme productivity. So why don't we explore a few of those?
Let's do it.
Habit 1, plan actions weekly, seems like a really good place to start.
Okay.
It's about kind of moving beyond that just daily whirlwind and like creating a structured plan for the week ahead.
I like it.
Yeah.
Structure is good.
And the authors actually give us a really helpful system for doing just that.
Oh, okay.
They call it the 4-3-4 planning system.
Mm.
So this approach basically helps you break down these really large annual goals into smaller, manageable chunks.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you start with your yearly goals,
Okay.
translate those into quarterly priorities, then monthly objectives, and finally weekly action plans.
So you're getting more and more granular as you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like a beautiful cascading waterfall of productivity.
I love it.
So this structure, I think, is especially helpful when you're tackling these really big, overwhelming projects.
For sure.
It gives you that roadmap, you know?
Right.
It guides you toward those large-scale aspirations. But like 1 week at a time?
One step at a time.
Exactly. And it keeps you from feeling lost or paralyzed
All right.
by just like the hugeness of it all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And having that clear weekly plan also really helps you stay focused and resist those like ever-present distractions.
It's so easy to get distracted.
Oh my gosh. Especially these days.
It's everywhere you look.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing. You know how this book really stresses that true productivity is not just about ticking things off a list.
Right.
It's more about aligning your efforts with your values, like really finding that deeper purpose.
It's not just like those superficial life hacks you see everywhere.
Exactly.
It's a more holistic approach. I think acknowledging that well-being is such a crucial foundation for like sustained productivity.
Absolutely.
And the book really delves into this like mindfulness, physical activity, spiritual energy.
They talk about all that stuff.
They do. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's actually where habit 8 comes in.
Okay.
Fuel your energy.
Mm.
Acknowledging that we're not robots, you know. We need to replenish our energy mentally,
Yep.
physically, spiritually
We do.
in order to perform at our peak.
For sure.
And it's so easy to neglect those things when you're in the thick of it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're facing the kinds of challenges that the Schultz family had to go through.
Absolutely.
And, you know, finding ways to kind of maintain their own energy and well-being amidst all of that chaos.
Right.
That's a really powerful lesson, I think, for all of us.
Huge lesson.
So they recommend things like incorporating mindfulness practices
Yeah.
like meditation or deep breathing
Yeah.
into your daily routine,
Makes sense.
making sure you're getting that regular physical activity.
Got to move that body.
I know.
Yeah.
And not just for physical health, but also for mental clarity and stress reduction.
It's all connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they encourage readers to really explore their own spiritual paths,
Right.
whatever form that might take.
Whatever that means for you.
Yeah, it's about finding what works for you.
For sure.
It's such a powerful reminder that productivity isn't about pushing yourself to that brink of exhaustion.
It's not about burning out.
No, it's about finding that sustainable rhythm that really nourishes every aspect of your being.
I love that.
Me too.
Sustainable rhythm. That's the key.
Now, of course, even with the best laid plans and systems,
Yeah.
we all slick up.
We do.
We all kind of get off track.
We're human.
We are only human.
Yeah.
And that's where habit 9 comes in,
Okay, what is that?
right? The ship.
Hmm.
And this habit offers tools for course correction.
Ooh, I like
When you find yourself, kind of veering off course,
We all need that sometimes.
we do. And one of the things that really intrigued me was this concept of free won't.
Free won't.
It's about interrupting those automatic behaviors that take us down these unproductive rabbit holes.
We all have them.
We do.
Yeah.
And the authors actually suggest a really simple but I think powerful technique. They say use a countdown,
Oh, okay.
like 3, 2, 1, stop,
Just stop.
to break that cycle and consciously choose a different path.
That's a good idea.
It's like a pattern interrupt,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
And it helps you kind of regain control when you're, on autopilot, mindlessly scrolling or
Yeah.
getting sucked into that email vortex.
Oh, the email vortex.
I know it's a dangerous place.
So easy to get lost in there.
And then another strategy they talk about is micro change,
Micro change.
embracing the power of small incremental changes to achieve bigger goals.
I like that.
Because sometimes the thought of like a major overhaul,
It can be overwhelming.
it could be so overwhelming. So
Yeah.
breaking it down into those baby steps makes it so much more manageable.
For sure.
And I think motivating as well.
Definitely, you got to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Absolutely. And then finally, they introduced this idea of commitment
And
contracts.
commitment contract.
So this is about making these binding agreements with yourself,
Interesting.
sometimes even with consequences for not following through.
Oh, wow.
It might sound a little extreme,
It does a little bit.
but research actually shows how effective this can be,
Really?
especially when you combine it with things like accountability partners or even putting some financial stakes on the line.
Wow. Okay, so you're really holding yourself accountable.
You are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think all of this multifaceted approach
Right.
really underscores the importance of self-awareness intentionality
Mm-hmm.
and understanding those core motivations.
For sure.
And that brings us back, to Ari's remarkable story.
Yeah.
His tenacity, his zeal for life,
Mm.
even in the face of such immense hardship.
Hard to imagine.
I know.
Yeah.
It really infuses the book with this incredible sense of hope and purpose.
I love that.
And it reinforces that idea that productivity is not just about checking boxes.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions with what truly matters.
Totally.
Living a life that is both productive and deeply fulfilling.
So well said.
Thank you.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of Not Today.
We have.
It's been quite a journey. Through the 9 habits, the author's personal story, and that philosophy that kind of binds it all together.
It's definitely prompted a lot of reflection.
Me too.
This isn't just another productivity guide,
Right.
It's a call to live a more conscious and meaningful life.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Now, before we go into the final stages of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's just pause for a sec. For
Right.
those of you listening out there,
Yes.
what are some of those key takeaways that are really resonating with you?
Right. What's standing out?
What nuggets of wisdom are you taking away from this exploration?
For me, one of the things that just really stood out was the story about Ari's Good Morning Tour.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a beautiful illustration of how the Schultz family found ways to inject positivity and purpose into even the most difficult circumstances.
It really is.
So with Ari spending so much time in the hospital, there were mornings when getting out of bed was just a struggle for him.
I can imagine.
And he would get glued to his iPad, his energy would be low, and the longer he stayed in bed,
Right.
the harder it was to kind of motivate him to get going.
It's a downward spiral.
It is.
Yeah.
But instead of letting those mornings kind of spiral into negativity, Eric and Mike came up with this just brilliant solution.
What a tip.
They created this routine that both empowered Ari, but also spread joy throughout the entire hospital ward.
Oh, that's great.
So every morning, Ari, in his Avengers pajamas and shark slippers,
Hmm.
would grab his IV pole
Oh my gosh.
and he would embark on what they called a good morning tour
I love that.
of the entire cardiac floor.
Wow.
So he would greet everyone he encountered, nurses, doctors, fellow
Yeah.
patients, even the custodial staff with a cheerful good morning.
What a great kid.
It's such a simple act,
It is.
but it had this really profound impact.
I bet.
It gave Ari this sense of purpose, it boosted his spirits, and it just brought smiles to the faces of everyone he interacted with.
Spreading joy.
It's just a testament to the power of those small gestures
Right.
to create that ripple effect of positivity.
Love it.
And I think it just perfectly encapsulates the book's overarching message.
So
Productivity isn't just about efficiency or accomplishing tasks.
it's about how you live your life.
Exactly. It's about
Yeah.
living a life that's aligned with your values,
Mhm.
imbued with purpose, and just radiating that positive energy.
Well said.
Thank you.
So the Schultz family's journey, as they share it through these 9 habits,
Right.
really provides a practical roadmap, I think,
It does.
for achieving that kind of life.
It involves making those conscious choices,
Yeah.
designing your environment for success, and prioritizing the activities that bring you joy
Right.
and fulfillment.
It's not always easy.
It's not, but it's so worth it.
It is.
And remembering that even when we falter,
Which we all do.
oh, we all do,
Right.
we have those tools to course correct
Right.
and get back on track.
That's so important.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Not Today, the 9 habits of extreme productivity.
Okay.
Let's
Summarize.
summarize, yeah.
Synthesize those key takeaways.
I love it.
Into 10 actionable points for our listeners.
Awesome.
These are the nuggets of wisdom we hope you'll carry with you. Number 1, embrace the time framework, evaluate your activities, and prioritize those that fall under treasured and investment time. Number 2, plan actions, weekly break down large goals into manageable weekly steps using the 4-3-4 system. Number 3, re-engineer your habits, use techniques like when I, then I to replace unproductive habits with more beneficial ones. Number 4, design your environment, create a space that supports your productivity goals, minimizing distractions and maximizing focus. Number 5, obsess over time. Track your time to uncover hidden time sinks and gain awareness of how you're actually spending your day. Number 6, fuel your energy, prioritize mindfulness, physical activity, and spiritual practices to replenish your mental, physical, and spiritual energy. Number 7, free your will, interrupt automatic negative behaviors using the 3-2-1 stop technique to regain control. Number 8, embrace micro-change, break down large goals into smaller, more manageable steps to make progress feel less daunting. Number 9, utilize commitment contracts, make binding agreements with yourself, incorporating accountability partners, or even financial stakes for added motivation. And number 10, live with purpose, align your actions with your values, and strive to make a positive impact on the world around you.
Wow, what a fantastic summary.
There you have it.
Those 10 points really encapsulate, I think, the essence of Not Today
They do.
and offer a really practical framework for anyone looking to live a more productive and fulfilling life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you.
So remember,
Yes.
productivity is not about mindless busyness
Right.
or chasing some arbitrary metrics.
It's about living with intention.
It's about living a life aligned with your purpose, fueled by passion, and overflowing with positive energy.
Absolutely. And on that note,
Yes.
thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Not Today, the 9 habits of extreme productivity.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights from this conversation and feel inspired to embark on your own journey toward a more meaningful and productive existence.
Well, remember,
Yes.
the journey doesn't begin tomorrow.
Right.
It starts right now
It does.
with one small, intentional step.
Beautifully said. Thanks again for joining us.